A long time ago in ancient Egypt, the rulers, the pharaohs, held absolute power. They weren't just kings. They were treated like gods. But with that power came cruelty. Among the people living under their oppression were the descendants of Jacob, known as the Israelites. They were enslaved, beaten down, and forced into hard labor. One pharaoh in particular grew paranoid. He feared the Israelites were growing too numerous. One night he dreamed of a fire sweeping through Egypt, burning Egyptian homes but leaving the homes of the Israelites untouched. Terrified, he summoned his priests, who warned him, "A child will be born among the Israelites. One day he will bring Egypt to its knees." In his rage, Pharaoh gave a horrifying order. Every newborn Israelite boy was to be killed. Soldiers carried out his command without mercy. But in the middle of this chaos, a child was born. A boy who would change history. His name was Musa, or as many know him, Moses. His mother, desperate to save him, did something unthinkable. Guided by her faith, she placed her baby in a basket and set him afloat on the Nile River. She sent his sister to watch from a distance, her heart breaking as the river carried him away. But fate had a plan. The basket floated into the hands of someone unexpected, Pharaoh's wife. Unlike her husband, she was kind, merciful, and longed for a child of her own. The moment she saw the baby, she fell in love. She convinced Pharaoh to let her raise him in the palace. Against all odds, Moses, the child Pharaoh feared, grew up as a prince of Egypt. Years passed. Moses grew strong, wise, and compassionate. He couldn't ignore injustice, and one day he saw an Egyptian soldier beating an Israelite slave. Furious, he struck the soldier in defense and killed him. Shocked at what he had done, Moses fled Egypt, knowing Pharaoh's punishment would be death. He wandered through the desert until he reached a land called Midian. There, he helped two women at a well, protecting them from shepherds who tried to push them aside. Their father welcomed Moses into his home, and eventually Moses married one of the daughters. For years, he lived a quiet life, working as a shepherd. But his story wasn't over. One night, while traveling through the wilderness, Moses saw something strange. A fire burning on the mountainside that never seemed to burn out. As he approached, he heard a voice. "Moses, I am God. I have chosen you. Go back to Egypt. Confront Pharaoh. Lead my people to freedom." Moses trembled. He remembered the man he killed, the danger that awaited him in Egypt. But God reassured him. He would not be alone. His brother, Aaron, would stand by his side. So Moses returned to the palace he had once called home. Standing before Pharaoh, he delivered God's message. "Let the Israelites go." Pharaoh laughed. "They are my slaves. Who is this God you speak of?" To prove he was sent by God, Moses threw down his staff, and it became a living serpent. Pharaoh, arrogant as ever, called his magicians. They cast down their ropes and staffs, and through illusions, they too became serpents. But then Moses' serpent swallowed them whole. The magicians themselves realized this was no trick. They fell to the ground, declaring belief in the God of Moses. Pharaoh raged with fury, but Pharaoh's defiance came at a cost. Egypt was struck with plague after plague. Drought, floods, locusts devouring crops, swarms of frogs, disease, and even the Nile turning to blood. Each time, Pharaoh begged Moses to pray for relief, promising to let the Israelites go. And each time, once the suffering ended, Pharaoh broke his word. Finally, God commanded Moses to lead his people out. In the dead of night, the Israelites marched away, carrying whatever they could. When Pharaoh realized, he summoned his army and pursued them. Soon the Israelites found themselves trapped, Pharaoh's army behind them, the vast Red Sea in front. Panic spread, but Moses stood firm. At God's command, he raised his staff and struck the sea. The waters split apart, rising like walls on each side, and a path opened through the sea. The Israelites rushed across, escaping the trap. Pharaoh and his army followed, charging into the path between the waters. But when they reached the middle, the sea crashed back down. Pharaoh, the man who claimed to be a god, was swallowed by the waves. His body washed ashore, a reminder to his people that even the mighty fall. For the Israelites, it was a new beginning. But freedom was not easy. In the wilderness, they struggled with doubt and impatience. While Moses climbed the mountain to receive God's commandments, some of them built a golden calf to worship, forgetting the God who had saved them. When Moses returned and saw this, his heart broke. Again and again he reminded them, true freedom comes with faith and obedience. Moses' journey was long, filled with challenges, betrayal, and perseverance. He never entered the promised land himself, but he died knowing he had fulfilled his mission: to confront tyranny, to lead his people out of slavery, and to show the world that no Pharaoh, no empire, no human power is greater than God. And that's the story of a child who survived against impossible odds, the story of a man who stood up to the most powerful ruler on earth, the story of freedom, faith, and the courage to trust when everything seems lost.